You are listening to Share a Slice with Sean.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Share a Slice with Sean. This week I'm happy to have on the show Veladya Chapman, and she runs the website earthmamedicine.com. She's on Instagram over at Earth Mama Medicine and also at YouTube, same place, Earth Mama Medicine. And I caught up with Veladya over on Skype at a Starbucks in small town Northern California. You can also hear her boyfriend Matt on the interview as well sometimes. So they left their apartment, and Matt and Veladya drove across the country with their hairless cat, Rumi the Sphinx. And we'll be talking about that in this interview. And we'll also be talking about her time as a cast member on the Book of Mormon musical, and that's where she met Matt Stone and Trey Parker. So also stay tuned to the end of this episode. I'll be playing a new track from past guest Kelly Fraser called Disco Club. So check out the episode on Kelly, actually. There'll be a link in the notes for that. She was actually up for she actually was nominated for a 2018 Juno Award up here in Canada for Indigenous music. She's an up-and-coming Inuk musician from Canada's Arctic. So it's something that, that music you're not going to hear anywhere else. And I've got a sort of a more poppy, dancey track at the end called Disco Club. So stay tuned for that. Anyway, with all that said, let's get started with the interview with Veladya Chapman. You're joining me from your van because you and your boyfriend Matt, right? Like left New York City, and you bought a van and you kind of retrofitted it a bit, and you and your boyfriend and your cat Rumi the Sphinx. You drove all the way across the country, basically, living in a van.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
We sure did.
Can you tell me a little bit about like what motivated you to do that, and I mean, just a little bit about how you were getting ready for that, and how, just launch right into the story. I mean, I'm interested.
So Matt and I were living in Yonkers, New York together with Matt's father, and it was a really tiny apartment. And so the lease ending was coming in March of this year, and we knew that we wanted to get a place together. So we began the search in probably December, I guess. And we were just realizing that it wasn't very appealing to this idea of staying in New York and paying over $2,000 for another tiny apartment somewhere, and having to work jobs that we didn't want to just to be able to pay that and not be able to have social lives and everything that comes with that sort of lifestyle. And we wanted to travel. So I was watching videos on YouTube of popular van lifers like Jinty Fell and what were some other ones? Eamon and Beck, Novel Culture, yeah. And so we turned to each other and we were like, we can do this. I think this is a great idea. We should take this money that we've been saving and working for to get an apartment and use it to just get a van and just leave. We want to go to California anyway. We want to try something new. The city is really intense. And so, yeah, we left. Matt's from New York, though. He was born and raised there. I'm not from New York. I've only lived there for like 4 years. And so I was ready to go. And what'd you say, Matt? Yeah, so we launched a GoFundMe page, and our friends and family donated, and people from like YouTube supporters, Instagram supporters, they donated, and we made it happen. We bought a van, a 2000 Ford Econoline, like passenger van with a bunch of seats in it. We removed all the seats, and all of it's on YouTube. You can see us like go to a junkyard and they help us take the seats out, and We removed all the paneling and we did everything ourselves at my dad's house in Georgia. And then we left. And it has been absolute bliss. It is the best feeling ever to feel free. And, we're setting up ways to have a passive income, but now it's just been bliss. Like it's been the best thing ever, right?
It's so much, I mean, it's so much freedom. It's like, to me, it's like the ultimate road trip movie, but it kind of like it hasn't ended yet. I mean, you've kind of like broken away from the shackles. It's like you've escaped the man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it feels like so good to be able to go wherever we want. I mean, we get up at like 6 in the morning as soon as the sun starts to rise, and we're like, oh, so where do you want to like spend the morning? Okay, let's drive to the beach. And we're just like half asleep driving to the beach, and then we arrive, and that's where we brush our teeth and eat breakfast. I mean, we can go anywhere we want because our house is just right here. We're like turtles.
How do you support that? Because I think that a lot of my listeners are probably thinking, "Wow, that sounds like the best thing ever. I would love to do that, but I need to have a job, so I need to go to work every morning." How do you guys get out of that trap?
What do you mean, like get out of what trap? How would we tell someone who wants to do this?
I guess, how did you guys do it yourselves? Maybe some people it works for
Oh,
them, maybe some people it doesn't. I'm not sure,
right.
but
Yeah. Well, it's just about feeling brave enough to do something like this. I mean, we were so fed up with our lives in the city. We were so fed up with the grind and with just being around so much negative energy and that we were pushed to work our butts off. I worked 3 jobs before we left. Matt worked morning to night every day. We worked so much, and then we did our GoFundMe page, and so that's another thing. If other people feel comfortable enough to ask your community, because it would not have happened if we wouldn't have received so much support from our family and friends. So I think that's a huge thing to think about because it took us a while to gain the bravery to even be able to ask.
The funds that we had saved up would last. I don't know. We expected 3 or 4 months, so we weren't too worried. But divine timing saved us in so many other instances. So we felt pretty comfortable with just taking a leap and trusting in the universe, so to speak.
Yeah.
you got to do that. All great things are like that. And I mean, a little context. I mean, um, for the same rent that you pay in some places, you could only afford to live in a van in New York City, probably. That too. I mean,
Yep.
like, you guys are killing yourselves probably working these jobs to pay insane prices to be in New
It's
York.
impossible to live there now. It's impossible to live there and be and be people like us that want to have lives other than our jobs. Hello, I'm not a slave. But in order to live in New York, you have to and be a more low income person. I mean, if I'm not a lawyer, doctor, all those really high income jobs. In order to live in New York, you are a slave. Hello, you are. I mean, all of my friends are working all day just to pay for their apartments and then just to be able to go out on the weekends and get a couple of drinks or whatever. And then they
Yeah.
don't have anything else. They don't have money to do anything else. No money to invest, no money to save for travel. So what are you even doing?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I have a friend who lives in London, and it's the same thing. He had to move back to a smaller town just to just to get out of it. I mean, just to be able to survive, like to be able to go for a pizza, like
Yeah.
craziness. So you get out, you leave New York City, right? And the first place you go, as you say, is Georgia. And I just remember seeing your Instagram where you're going dolphin watching. Also, I think that was Key West, actually. I can't
Yeah.
remember the timing, but you went down around there and you went to the Everglades, and I mean, do any moments like stand out to you, like when you were out in nature and you were just seeing all this amazing stuff?
What moments stood out? Oh my gosh, so many moments. Like I can't even choose. Maybe, maybe the sunrises and the sunsets. I think are like the most, I mean, we just weren't enjoying them in New York like you can down in Key West where there is nothing impeding your vision. It is straight coast. And the sun, I mean, it is so beautiful. Yeah, I think that's like the top.
The moment we left was pretty peak too, when we had finally just set off and we knew that we weren't coming back to Georgia anytime soon, and we were gonna, from this point on, going west, and we had nothing but, time. Time was on our side, so to speak, for the first time in my life, at least. So, that was amazing at that moment too. We were like, it was what, like 2 or 3 in the morning or
Yeah,
something?
we just left Georgia. We
like,
couldn't
"All right,
wait. We were
peace."
like, I'm not sleeping. Let's just go. And it was crazy. I was like, I was in a video game.
And then Miami, for me, that was the first time I had ever seen clear water. So that was pretty orgasmic, spiritually. And then Key West with the dolphins. I had always wanted to see dolphins, and we were kind of apprehensive about not having the funds to go see them. So
Yeah, but we like made
made it
everything happen. Yeah.
Because I saw one YouTube where you guys were looking for somewhere to sleep. That might have been actually down around there. And
Yeah, that was Key West.
yeah, and you were looking through the guides for camping places, and like it looked like an episode of Scooby-Doo or something. Like what was the deal with that? Obviously you lived. Explain a little about what that was about.
Lived. It was just that, people would put on freecampsites.net. I mean, that's what you get when it's the internet. It's like anybody can go on there and say that, hey guys, this is a great place to sleep in your car if you wanna. Yeah, you can put it on there. Anybody can. So the only place that we were finding down in Key West was this really sketchy place that you're not supposed to drive on the road. You're not supposed to drive across the bridge, but he was saying drive across it anyway, even though there's signs that say no vehicles. And then like go park in this place where there's a bunch of abandoned tents and abandoned food where people probably like immigrants were running away. And he was like, AK-47. And then some cave said that like some people reviewed it and were like, don't sleep here. The next morning the Coast Guard came and put M16s in our faces.
What?
We were like, what kind of campsite is this?
Whoa. You woke up in the morning and you had like the Coast Guard pointing like automatic guns at you?
Not us. That's what one of the reviews said of that campsite.
Wow.
That's why we were like, we're not going here.
Jeez. We just found that random place.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, so we ended up sleeping in a 24-hour parking lot.
Yeah, like a Walmart type place.
No, we actually because right down in Key West, there's no big chain stores like Walmart or anything. Right. It's just like Island Town and small stores. So we found like a beachy, it was like all sand too, 24-hour parking lot, just for people that are like partiers basically and want to go to all the little tiki bars and stuff.
Yeah.
And you pay $15 and you park there the whole night. And so we were like, oh, this is a good place to sleep. It might be a little loud for like drunk people walking by, but it was all right. It was fun. Yeah.
Florida's a weird place. It is pretty strange down there, especially Key West. There's a lot of interesting people who end up down there for sure. And when you were driving, like especially across the flatter lands, I don't know, like because you went across, like you're going like Austin and then New Mexico, like Texas, New Mexico. Like I just saw these like tiny little highways, and it was like a scene out of Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas or something.
It does look like we were saying Fear and Loathing the whole time.
Backcountry. I was like, is this backcountry yet?
Yeah, it was so cool.
I drove across the states a while ago with a friend of mine, and we went through Wisconsin, I think, but it was northern Wisconsin, so there's nothing around. And we would stop occasionally at these tiny little like gas stations that time had forgotten, basically.
Yep.
I just remember sitting in a gas station parking lot at 3:00 in the morning and looking at the stars, and you just see billions of stars out there, and you're just and I'm just like, it's like time just stopped. It's like the world it's like all of the noise with humanity stops, and it's just you and the countryside. It's
Absolutely.
do you know what I mean? Did you get that feeling
Yeah.
where time kind of like you don't have to worry that it's Monday anymore?
Absolutely. It's so awesome. We never know what day it is. We're just existing at this point. It's awesome.
That's more
We have
natural.
no rules. Yeah, we have no rules.
You guys went to some kind of concert there as well. Yeah, now I'm starting to
In
lose it.
California?
Yeah. So
In
you went all
California, yeah,
there.
we went to the High Times Cannabis Cup, which was a big show, like a concert also. But it was also a cannabis competition, lots of Northern California growers were there showcasing their bud and their extracts and stuff. It was nice.
I had the Sisters of the Valley, and they're like these weed nuns on the show.
Oh, I've seen that. You
Yeah,
spoke to them? How cool.
yeah. I spoke to Sister Kate. She was on the show. They see this as almost being sacred. Like this is like
It
this
is.
plant is more than just. I mean, it is a plant, right? But it has
It's an
amazing
herb.
properties because that's part of like your Instagram. That and I mean, there's just so much there because you have a like a syncretism. Big word between different things. Like you also have, I noticed you have Yoni Life there too. And I had actually I had a previous guest on, Jenna Jimenez. She like is a big advocate of that as well. A big advocate of using like reusable or just celebrating that part of the body, right? Which
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a lot of I think that vaginas freak a lot of men out, and they freak a lot of women out too, which is weird
Yeah,
because I
totally.
don't know a single guy who's freaked out by his penis,
Yep.
to be honest.
You're right, though. You're definitely right. And it's sad. It's even, of course, there are a lot of men, and we hope that they are become more aware of things, but it's really, really sad to me, the women that don't know. And that's the reason why I've dedicated a whole series on my YouTube to yoni health. And I've been coming out with videos talking about menstruation and yoni eggs and steaming and all different kinds of things because women don't even know what's going on down there. We just, oh, here's a symptom. Just go to the doctor and she'll tell you what to do. She won't even explain to you what it is. And you don't know what it is. And it's happening inside of you. Like, come on, people.
Yeah, that's crazy. Can you tell me a little bit what's steaming? That's the thing that I have no idea what that is.
Yeah, so it's a sacred practice that's been happening for thousands of years where a woman squats over water that's been boiled with herbs.
Uh-huh.
Certain herbs like rosemary, motherwort. You can even put cannabis in there, lavender, a lot of different healing herbs. And you squat over and let the steam rise up into the vaginal canal and everything. And it is really beneficial for women that have really intense cramps. It's beneficial for women that are experiencing dryness. It's good for a lot of things. It just makes you feel really clean and yeah, it can be also a spiritual thing, a spiritual cleansing practice, and I'm a big supporter of it. So
I got to think about like how that works, but I'm guessing that like because I'm a guy, but I mean I guessing the steam, you don't want to burn yourself. This is just like steam off
no,
like a
you
boiled
wait till it
cup.
cools. Like you have the hot water pot beneath you and you squat over it, and usually there's like little wooden seats that you can buy to sit over the pot comfortably.
Okay.
And you wait till it's cool. You wait till it's cool enough for the pot just to have like warm steam, not super hot steam. And you sit like a foot above it so that you're not too close to it. And then you just let it rise up in there gently.
And I mean,
It feels amazing. I feel like guys should do it too.
well, I mean,
Where would
how?
it go?
He said, Matt just said, where would it go?
I mean,
I don't know, just down there. I mean, it never gets enough love down there. Just some steaming, it feels clean. Like just like the Europeans do what are those bathtubs called? I forgot.
I feel like
I mean, those toilets.
guys should have their junks this like exposed to the sunlight.
Oh Lord, here he goes. Anyway, next
you
topic.
nudists? Yeah, I mean, I've had nudists on the show too. I find that a lot of dudes can probably benefit from washing down there regularly. I mean, I don't know this from experience personally because I'm hetero myself, but the thing is that like I don't know. I'm just assume like I know from personal experience that if I'm like sitting around for a long time, I need to like
Wash
need
it
to
up.
wash, and it's the
Yep.
most sincerely. It's the nicest thing you can do for someone who's going to be like if you're gonna like be intimate with someone, for God's sake, wash. You also talk about the dangers of tampons, actually, and toxic
hmm
shock. I mean, I never heard about any of this stuff before I started going out with my wife, because she uses cloth, or she uses cloth, the cloth
Pads.
pads, and she also
hmm
used the cup as well.
Nice.
And she told me about toxic shock, and I'm like, that's screwed up, man. I didn't really hear much about that as a dude. And what I found on your Instagram as well is that a lot of these tampons are just made with like shitty, horrible cotton, like the stuff that's left
Horrible
over.
rayon, like wood chips, and it causes lacerations in the skin within the
Ah,
vagina, which causes us to be more prone to infections and imbalances, and
dude,
it is terrible.
that's like that. So yeah, so basically you're taking like, I don't know, freaking fiberglass or something, like not as bad,
Mm-hmm.
but and you're just sticking it up your cooch, and you're
Mm-hmm.
just like scratching your, that's like nuts. Like if you're a
Mm-hmm.
guy, I mean, just imagine just taking, I don't know, just take a piece of sandpaper and stick it between your butt cheeks or something. Like, it's horrible, right?
Yeah, and it doesn't hurt like that because women, we use tampons for years and we feel fine. It's just that it's microscopic lacerations that you don't even know are there that can cause imbalances for you, and they can just cause like negative effects to everything down there. And it shows how much the corporations really care about feminine health. It's just a profit thing, and I mean, yeah, it's terrible. And so I do also advertise the Diva Cup. There are some tampons that are well made. There are some organic tampons that are 100% cotton and good quality cotton that you can use.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
I think just use them sparingly is all I usually say.
yeah, I mean, obviously, it has to do with practicality, I suppose. Like, if you're going to go swimming or something, I can see the point, maybe. If you're going to a
Exactly.
public pool. But I mean, if
Yeah.
you're going to go swimming in a, I don't know, in a lake or something, does it really matter at that point? I don't
Yep.
know, you
Yep.
know.
Yep.
And
Exactly.
and what I read actually on your Instagram is that Procter and Gamble, they were the ones, I think, they just, when they figured out that these tampons, these Relly or Rely tampons were bad, they just sent them all off to Africa to to to
Yep.
s- to to fuck up the black women over at Africa. That's
Yep.
like the worst. Wow.
Absolutely. We do that with a lot of stuff. We just trash it over to the black folks. But we won't get into that. But yeah, it's really sad. It's really sad. So I had to bring awareness to that, and that's why that's a huge part of Earth Mom Medicine lately is I'm trying to bring a lot more feminine health to the forefront.
Yeah, it's really holistic. Like, I went over to your website, earthmommedicine.com. A lot of your services there are just things to help people kind of organize. I mean, it's kind of interesting because
Mm-hmm.
it's a big kick now where people are like, "Oh, well, I'm going to like pay I don't know, what's another, Blue Apron or something to
Mm-hmm.
come and prepare all my foods and send them over, frozen, or give me all the little, what is it, all the bags and things, and all the pat,
Yep.
and I'll assemble them all like a model airplane kit or something, and then I'll have a meal. And I mean, I guess that's better than eating, Hungry Man frozen dinners every night or something. I mean, I can't deny that, but you want to take it to the next level. Then what I found, as a dude who did live off of Hungry Man and Ramen and whatever, for ages, is that it's baby steps. So, I mean, I could totally see myself, like, saying, hey, help me out. How do I shop? How do I plan like my meals? How do
Mm-hmm.
I do all this stuff? And these are some of the features. These are some of the services that you offer on your website to people. It's like
Mm-hmm.
the ability to just give them some pointers on how to make nutritious meals.
Mm-hmm. And some people don't even want meal guidance. A lot of times I'll do a Skype coaching that we just pay by the minute, and we'll talk about life, or we'll talk about feminine health, or we'll talk about whatever else you're going through, high blood pressure, stuff like that. A lot of people just need some guidance on how to treat themselves.
And so full disclosure, you're a holistic nutritionist,
Nutritionist.
right?
Yes.
So and you specialize. I don't know if you do this for all of your clients, but you specialize mostly for yourself, at least, raw vegan food. Is that right?
Yeah, and I wouldn't even call myself specializing in that because I just started being a raw vegan a few months ago, so it's
Oh,
new for
okay.
me in my journey. But I coach only vegan. That's all I specialize in helping people transition to veganism, transition to plant-based lifestyles. And when I coach people, I only provide plant-based meal plans and plant-based practices. I won't tell somebody like, okay, so tomorrow eat this chicken, the next day eat this fish. I don't. That's not the way that we work.
Why are you vegan? Are you vegan because of the ethical reasons or the nutritional reasons or both?
All of the reasons,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah,
I
yeah.
started out being vegan because of the health reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, a few days later, when I was really digging into research and documentaries, definitely for the animals, I started to really realize how terrible it was. And then, I mean, the more I was exposed to information, now I'm vegan for every reason there is, environmental reasons, everything. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm one of those people who I've tried to be vegetarian because for me, what my strategy is personally is I've mostly cut out all red meat. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm kind of trying to go one thing at a time. Like I'm gonna cut out um beef, right? Because I see that as being
Mm-hmm.
like, first of all, cows are smart. Like they're really intelligent. So it makes me feel kind of
Mm-hmm.
bad when I eat them. But secondly, it's not great for me. And thirdly, they fart all the time. And so maybe we should not be cultivating like them just to kill them and eat them. And
Yeah, it's really harmful.
it's harmful for so many different things. And so I'm like, okay, this probably has the biggest footprint, cows, to a certain extent. So now I'm kind of trying to work my way down, like to smaller and smaller animals until eventually I'm done. Like that's what I'm trying to do. Does that make
Okay.
sense? Or I guess anyone.
Yeah, however, whatever works for you. It's nice that you at least have an awareness of what your diet is like now and how you want to move forward to a more high vibrational diet. It's yeah, whatever works for you.
I tried to be vegetarian and it's hard. I mean, it's not easy. Like you gotta you can't just say I'm gonna be a vegetarian and then just cut out all meat because then you're not gonna have anything left, right? You need to replace that with other stuff, that like other proteins, like other
Mm-hmm.
things. And especially when you're
Mm-hmm.
dealing with restaurants and like just trying to be like uh portable with your
Yeah,
food.
you have to search harder for places a lot of times.
It's getting
But
easier.
that's the reason why whenever I coach people that are wanting to transition, the first thing I tell them is to make sure that you seek a lot of information, listen to lectures, listen to speeches, watch arguments on YouTube and debates from people that are having the vegan versus non-vegan argument, learn the perspectives and figure out your why. And when you figure out your why, stand strong in it, because if you're just doing it because, oh, I saw some blogger on YouTube, she lost a lot of weight, she's vegan, I'm just going to do this. Or, oh, I saw this really sad like pig video one time. No, that pig video is going to dissolve in like 5 months. You're not even going to remember what it looked like and you're going to start eating bacon again, Really stand strong in your why and research it and know why you're deciding to do it and you'll stay vegan. Like you'll stay because it can be really hard sometimes for us being vegan in these food deserts and stuff, but we make it work because I can't imagine putting an animal or something made from an animal in my mouth anymore. Like it just, that sounds like putting something like you wouldn't put, I'm not going to get graphic, but you know what I mean? It just sounds impossible. So we
Excretions.
make it work.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
yeah,
make
yeah.
it work.
Yeah. I wonder myself if a lot of the anger towards vegans, because there is, like, you say you're vegan and you can get like people can get really weird when you start talking about, because and what you're talking about is not
Yeah.
them. You're talking about you.
Yeah,
You're like,
exactly.
I don't eat these things, and they get really testy and defensive. And do you
And
think
that's a good thing. It should show you that you feel uncomfortable if you feel defensive, because most of the time when I'm home with my family, I'm just eating my salad in peace. I'm not eating what everyone else is eating, their pizza, or their fast food. And they'll start to ask questions and get defensive. Why aren't you eating this, this, da, 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 da? I'm not saying anything about you. I'm just going about my business. So if you feel defensive, that means that maybe you want to make a change. I mean, I feel proud of the way I eat, so I don't feel like I am embarrassed by it in any way. So if you're embarrassed by the way you eat, but in front of vegans, then maybe you secretly want to be vegan. I don't know,
you know
or maybe you're aware of it.
my grandfather was the greatest guy in the world. I loved him, and he was a butcher for God, must have been over 50 years. He was a butcher, and it's funny because he couldn't watch the Muppet Show. Like when Miss Piggy came on, he didn't like it. He had like this weird reaction to the Muppet Show. He didn't like it at all. It was it was weird. Like, right? He had this reaction because he also used to transport cattle. Like he actually worked on a cattle, like an abattoir type thing where he would shoot the cows and kill
Wow.
them and bring them to,
Wow.
and he was he did all this stuff. And then you know what, when my wife and I went to visit him, and my grandmother, we forgot to tell them that we didn't eat beef at the time at all. So he
Uh-oh.
had a fridge full of like these thick, juicy steaks that he was going to put on the barbecue for us. And you know what, we said, you know what, we don't eat beef anymore. We gave it up because for diet and moral reasons. And you know what he did? He said, "Oh, okay, that's fine." And he brought us something else. He brought us another kind of meat, but he didn't. He set those steaks aside. Zero judgment.
Yeah,
None.
that's
It didn't
great.
bother him at all.
That's awesome. And that's the way it should be. And that's the way I feel about meat eaters. It's so funny being a vegan for so long, especially people knowing that I have the Earth Mom Medicine platform, because people get so uncomfortable around me
Hmm.
when they're eating meat. And I'm like, look, I don't want to do it for myself, but I'm not going to shun you. You're just, you're living your life and you're figuring it out.
You guys are in California now. You're basically, what are you doing? You're kind of like maintaining this farm, that on
Yeah,
25 acres of land, eh?
yeah, a friend of mine that I met through Instagram like a year ago, he's lived here for a little bit with his little son, and the house he just finally came back like a few months ago, and the house has just sort of been out here. He's been paying rent, but he was just traveling for a little bit, but now the grass was tall and the garden was sort of like destroyed. So he came here and was like, "I'll pay you guys. You don't have to pay rent or anything if you just come and help me with the outdoor work and help getting the house back up to par. And then you can grow your own food. We'll go to the farmer's market with it," because he had done that in the past. And we're getting to work with a little bit of cannabis, which is great because he has a lot of connections with other farms. And so it's just been a nice like break from the van life to be connecting with nature and experiencing that.
Holy crap. So basically, you're living on this little farm, on a whole bunch of land in like this, California, beautiful. I can hear the birds actually where you're at. I know you're not at the farm. You're probably in town, but
Yeah, we're at the Starbucks.
Wow, that's like jarring. It's like hear that after all this. Well, yeah, like so you're living in this small like farm, and you're just growing your own Mary Jane, and you're just like, that sounds pretty freaking idyllic, man.
It's awesome. It really is awesome. The only thing that I wish we had was the beach nearby because we're like so far north. We're not really near the beach, but man, soon we'll get back in the van and we'll experience because it's so dry out here.
Oh yeah. So they don't
But
have
it
any
is
water
such a
holes or anything, what you're saying or
yeah, it's
something.
not much of like a lush area. It's just a lot of like dry, tan hay land, like no green grass.
Did
But still, it's a blessing. Like no complaints.
did you guys ever run into any hairy situations? Like did the clan come after you anywhere, or did you like anything
We totally
crazy?
thought about that. Well, no. This crazy thing happened though when we were like a week ago. We're in this really, really tiny town that's just nothing but a bunch of farms. I mean, people have hundreds of acres to themselves here, and then you have a little tiny town with a Starbucks. And so everybody knows everybody. And here we come with this big black van, and we look like we do. I have a big afro. Matt has long dreadlocks. We have a hairless cat. We have bright yellow New York City license plates, New York license plates. They're bright yellow, so it's like we stand out. And we got followed home by a cop, not all the way home, but we got followed from town
What?
out into the middle of nowhere. Yeah, he waited until we got sort of like out in the middle of nowhere, and then he pulled us over. We were like, "Oh my God, what should we do? Like, we can get killed right now because this is like one of those towns from Get Out. Like,
Yeah, you
they could
just
just take
disappear.
us." Yeah, and and so he rolls down the window and he's like, "Oh, I just, you guys didn't do anything. I saw your New York plates and I'm also from New York. What's
Oh,
up?" We were like, "Are you freaking kidding me?"
holy crap.
I yelled at Matt was like so calm. He was like, "Oh, hi." And then I yelled at him. I was like, "You're so mean. Why would you do that?" He put the lights on and everything. Like, what the hell is wrong with you?
Jesus Christ. Yeah, I'd be afraid that this guy would, come in with his like a crazy southern drawl, and he'd be just like, yeah, I
Ready to kill us.
I think you better follow me over there to that abandoned house. We got a few things to talk about. You're something
And
crazy
then the
like that.
KKK is waiting.
Jeez. I mean, cuz
Nah,
that
for real. We think about that all the time, and I think he was checking us out because we had been coming to the Starbucks every day because we didn't have Wi-Fi at the farm, and
okay.
so we kept seeing the same people. And I know these little old ladies probably know the sheriff, and they probably said like, "Hey, we see this New York van come through here all the time now. These black folks in it." So they probably said like, "Can you check them out?" Because he came and like stared at us for a little bit, and then it was like, "Oh, sorry, y'all didn't do anything." So I bet you he was like scanning to see if he smelled weed or to like see if we were like crazy looking. I don't know. I don't think he was just saying he's from New York,
But
but it was a good cover up.
weed's
It
not
could just be
illegal
our
there though.
paranoia.
Yeah, it's not illegal, but would it be illegal if we were smoking it while we were driving, babe? It wouldn't. Oh,
It's
okay.
like
Well.
smoking a cigarette.
Oh, okay. Well,
Well,
never mind.
yeah, you like up here in Canada there's I'm not really that much of a pot guy myself, but what I do know is that it's like a big deal now. They're trying to figure out what to do with driving because
Oh,
the thing with driving is that like some people when they smoke a
can
joint,
handle it.
more than just that, they're like way better drivers when they're stoned.
Yeah.
Like some
Yeah. And
people,
imagine the people that have epilepsy. I mean, they need their THC oil that they take every day to be able to get places without them having a seizure and wrecking. Like, they should
if
be able to drive.
if you're an anxious person and you take some you smoke some weed, the stuff that like calms you down, you will drive better than somebody
Yeah,
who's like freaked out, because the worst kind of driver is the nervous driver because you don't know what the
for
hell they're
sure.
going to do, right?
100%. And I'm a nervous driver, and I have also driven on cannabis, and I will 100% attest to that.
You're
You are
just going to
right.
drive a bit slow, that's all.
You're more
That's
focused. Yeah, I drive
you're
slow like a granny, and I'm able to be calm, and
That's
it's
true.
great.
Yeah,
Hey, see,
yeah,
Matt can attest to
Well
it. I
said.
drive nice and slow, and I don't care
yeah.
who's behind me. I don't care if they're mad. I'm relaxing, and I feel
stay
much better.
Stay in the right lane. Who cares? They can just pass
Yeah,
you, right?
I'm not bothering anybody.
Unless you're going down that tiny road on Key West, then everybody gets pissed off. But they're going to have to wait, right? Because if memory
Well, no, I'm
serves,
more
they don't
comfortable
let you
on those
pass.
roads.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the small roads. I mean, they're like fantastic. You know, Veladya, I was like taking a look at some of your stuff on the internet too, and I found that you actually were in the Book of Mormon. Is that true? Like,
Hmm.
what were you
Yeah.
what were you doing in that? Because that is like I love that. I went to see that live here in Montreal. It was
Oh my gosh, I
great.
was probably in it.
You,
I
we,
went
it
to
could have
Montreal and
been.
performed in it.
I'd have to look at the year. Like, was it what 2012 or
It
20? What?
was, oh, if it was 2012, then no, that wasn't me. I joined it and I was in Montreal 2017.
I would have to look to see when I went because I could have actually seen you. I went. It was at Place des Arts there here in Montreal, and
That's pretty cool.
yeah, I love that play musical. Did you actually get to
Mhm.
meet the South Park guys, or is
Yeah,
it?
Matt and Trey. Yeah, we met them once. They're pretty chill.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, they're like I would love to chill with them. They look like my kind of people for sure. Like really cool.
They're pretty stale though. They're kind of like antisocial. They're just like, "Oh, hey guys." They're like really quiet, which
Yeah,
is
yeah, well,
surprising for such a like crazy cartoon.
you know what that means. The mild mannered ones. That means you just need to like
Yeah.
get a little more close with them. Then they'll open up and they'll be the weirdest people you know for sure.
I know,
I totally think
right?
so. Uh,
But yeah, I was in that show for 2 years after I graduated college.
which character were you?
I was an ensemble character and I was an Abulungi understudy.
Oh, okay, I see. That's cool. Yeah, yeah. I went there
Hmm.
with my wife. I loved it. That's amazing. I mean, traveling around. So you've got a little of this traveling thing already. I mean, that's actually where
Yeah.
you started. Actually, that's where you started kind of figuring things out was when you were on the road, right?
Yeah. Right after college, I spent over a year traveling the United States. I've been to almost every state, and I think maybe that's what itched me to get in the van. I was like, like, come on, my energy's getting so stagnant. I feel like we just need to get out and go somewhere.
Yeah, wanderlust, eh? You and Matt, do you guys have plans to like settle down and have the the
No.
white picket fences and the 2.3 kids and the whole deal? No.
I mean, now we have committed ourselves to each other and we definitely plan on having children, but I don't know about like a home. I mean, well, like it would be nice to have a home base somewhere, but we plan on traveling for most of our lives. And I want, like, of course, we would take breaks for like having the babies and stuff, but when the babies get old enough, we would love to take them on the road with us. Obviously, a new vehicle or like a new situation, but like we want to be able to just continue to see the world. The world's too big and our lives are too short. And yeah, so kids won't stop us, but settling down maybe when we're old, I guess. I don't know, maybe not.
You don't want to wait until you're like 62 and you can't fly anymore and you gotta
And
drive
that's when you
around in
start
a
traveling.
Winnebago and your prostate's going
Exactly.
and Jesus. I mean, and that I mean, you guys I think are an inspiration for other people because even if we can't necessarily, you know, get out of our jobs right now, we know that it's out there and we know that it's possible. And even if you can
Yeah.
just take a little trip, it's awesome. Even me driving down to Vermont, that's cool. And
Mhm.
I mean, when it comes to kids, I mean, there are plenty of nomadic cultures out there where the woman or the man just straps the kid to the back and just to their
And
backs,
they
right? And they just
go.
go. They
Yeah.
do this in
I mean,
Africa.
watch
They do
people
this
on
in Europe.
YouTube.
Yeah,
There are
everywhere.
people on YouTube living van life right now with their kids, like Jinty Felt, which is our Australian family that we love. They have a little 2-year-old, and they've had her in the van since she was one, since she was a little baby. I mean, there are tons of people of different cultures, Australians, Americans, African Americans, with their kids on the road traveling. Like, it's totally possible. It's just about having kids are totally capable. They're not a burden. I mean, I can't really speak firsthand because I don't have children, but you can figure out a way to make it work, you
This
know?
has been done for thousands and thousands of years, and I
Yeah.
mean, and
Yeah.
and And I mean, think about the amount of education these kids are getting by
Exactly.
traveling. Their minds
They're
are
learning.
pre-opened, right?
And especially when you start them young, they're going to be so used to it. They know how to act. It's different when you have a kid who's been in the same house for years and then now you start making him travel and he's going to have to get used to it and stuff. Like these babies start young. The ones we watch on YouTube, they're little babies traveling all to Bali, Australia, here, there. I mean, like, it's awesome. And yeah, they're getting homeschooled from traveling. You can't learn any better than that.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I have a friend, and he's got this thing more down than I do. I think he's a professor. He teaches film studies here in Montreal, and you know what he did last weekend? He piled the
Mm.
kids into a car. His two little girls with tie dye shirts, the whole deal. They all have different colored hair. Like they're really amazing.
Oh,
And these are little kids. These are like, I think 12 and 8, and Drake. I shouldn't say the name. The other kid's name. And they piled them all into the van, and he just drove down to Saratoga to watch a Grateful Dead concert with them. Like, I mean,
that's awesome.
but yeah, he's just the his ability to get up and go. And like, even if your kid like isn't used to it now, your kid will get used to it if you continue
Mm-hmm.
traveling around. So, and if you've got,
Mm-hmm.
because again, as I said, like nomadic cultures, it's been done for thousands of years. In a way, it's more natural for humans to be moving around
Yep.
than just sitting around. Like it's only with agriculture, I guess, where people just sort of they became sedentary. But before that, you know, they were moving around. They were following the buffalo.
Exactly. 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 And that's what we want to do. We like to chase the warmth too. I do not like cold weather. Like once it starts getting cold, I want to head south. I don't know what we want to do, but I know that I love being able to control where we go.
Awesome. Listen,
Yeah.
keep on trucking. Veladya and Matt, it's been awesome. I mean, talking to both of you guys. I'm just gonna like leave off here, I guess, with a question that I ask all my guests or most of my guests. Like, what is the single most important or thing that comes to your mind, I guess, I'll qualify it that way, that you've learned or that you've discovered as you traveled across this planet, across this country? Like, what is it about humans or the world or nature that you can think of right now?
Hmm. I have learned that we are all connected, and that's something that I've already known, but the more you travel, the more you see the same stories. You hear stories from people all over the country. You see lands that look like lands from other places, and you see the way the trees look. And I mean, and you start to visit more historic sites. I mean, we're all the same. History repeats itself in its cycles, and like we're all the same, part of the same grand one consciousness.
Yeah, I can get with that. I think that we're all personally, I like Carl Sagan and what he said. He said that
Mm-hmm.
we are a way for the universe to know itself. Like
Mm-hmm.
we are the consciousness of the universe, and no scientist can deny that. I mean, like literally, like sentience. We are the sentience of the world, and
Yep.
we're all, who knows? Like maybe when I die, I'm gonna be resurrected, and maybe there'll be some sort of time warp or something, and I'll come back as you, or I'll come back as
Mm-hmm.
Matt. Who knows how it works, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, thanks so much for being on the show, Valadia and Matt. I'd
Thank
like,
you for having us.
well, that's about it for this episode. I'd like to thank Valadia and Matt for being on the show. And I'd like to encourage you to go to earthmamedicine.com. Also, YouTube, Earth Mama Medicine, Instagram, Earth Mama Medicine. I'd like to thank the Fantastic Plastics for the theme music. And I'd like to introduce you now to Kelly Fraser's new track called Disco Club. Kelly was kind enough to let me play it for you here on the show. And remember to check out Kelly's page over on YouTube and also at kellyfrasermusic.com. So thanks so much for listening, and praise Bob.
Hair ready, dress on, makeup made up. All right, let's go. Getting ready for the disco club. Right now, that's what's up. This is the Bliss Rub. I'm in a lavender tub. Getting ready for the disco club. Get one up. Never ever get enough. That's why I go to the disco club. The DJ's mixing up. If you wanna make love, do it at the disco club. Dance floor is what is up. I'm going to the disco club. Like I ever grew up. Right here at the disco club. That's what's up at the disco club. Meeting friends at the disco club. Fill up my cup. I wanna go get drunk. Going up to the disco club. With my middle finger up. Going up to the disco club. You know that is what is up. Get lit on the scene. You know I'm the queen. Go to Airbnb with my girl Molly. Mary Jane's on my lane. Let's get insane. Let's get it lit at the disco club. Don't get too blasted. Don't be a bastard. This song was mastered. Don't get too blasted. Don't be a bastard. This song was mastered by the master. Disco club. Pretty fast at the disco club. Fill up my cup. I wanna go get drunk. Going out to the disco club. With my middle finger up. Going out to the disco club. You know that is what is up. Disco club. Pretty fast at the disco club. Fill up my cup. I wanna go get drunk. Going out to the disco club. With my middle finger up. Going out to the disco club. You know that is what is up. Repeat after me. If you like to dance, say yeah, yeah. If you like to sing, say yeah. If you in the disco club, say yeah. I'm in the disco club with my middle finger up, like I give a fuck. The DJ's mixing love. If you wanna make love, do it at the disco club. Dance floor is what is up. I'm going to the disco club. Like I ever grew up. Right here at the disco club. That's what's up. At the party, just my luck. Get off that rug. We're gonna go get drunk. Gonna go fall in love. Got a ring, just my luck. I'm not a lucky duck, but I have fun at the disco club. Disco club. Many friends at the disco club. Fill up my cup. I wanna go get drunk. Going out to the disco club. With my middle finger up. Going out to the disco club. Right now that is what is up. Disco club. Many friends at the disco club. Fill up my cup. I wanna go get drunk. Going out to the disco club. With my middle finger up. Going out to the disco club. You know that is what is up.
What the hell do you think you're doing? Dragging your butt through the day, selling body and soul to a bunch of bland normals? Acting stupid so they'll think you're one of them? Tired of getting all of the guilt, but none of the sex? There is a simple answer, dear friend. A glowing beacon of slack amidst the turmoil and darkness. It's J.R. Bob Dobbs, the living slack master, and his church of the subgenius. Bob brings a new destiny for the abnormal. For Bob comes to justify our sins, to unmask the conspiracy, and to get us back the slack they stole away. It's us versus them. Are you gonna fry in hell on earth alongside the pink boys? Or will you pull the wool over your own eyes and accept Bob into your mind? Repent, quit your job, slack off, and praise Bob!
Church of the Subgenius, eternal salvation, or triple your money back.
You're not dreaming. You're here in the vast and technologically advanced OSI 74 studios, where my co-host Miss Mittens and I, your host Mr. Lobo, are getting ready to host a brand new season of Cinema Insomnia. But this time, we want to get you Cinsomniacs involved. Please come join us at our Patreon page, patreon.com/cinema-insomnia, where you'll find Mr. Lobo is making your new TV shows, and we're involving you in the process. Even at the dollar level, you will have access to exclusives that other Cinsomniacs aren't. You'll have access to Mr. Lobo that few Cinsomniacs get to enjoy. There'll be other perks at other tiers too. You'll be able to get props from the show, potentially. You'll be able to get your name in the credits, perhaps. Maybe you could bend steel bars with your bare hands, levitate cars, fly. I mean, think of it. Anything is possible if you come, be a part, and join our inner, sweet, double-stuffed, deep, salty, caramel, double-dipped, gooey center supercore. And Mr. Lobo's getting hungry all of a sudden, but look, you hit the subscribe bar, Mr. Lobo's going to hit the snack bar, and we'll see you later for a brand new season of Cinema Insomnia.
But let's leave things of this world behind and walk now down the path of Bob for this brief minute of slack from the Church of the Subgenius.
This is Reverend Ivan Stang. I'm 31 years old, friends. Not an old man, a young man. Not too many wrinkles on my face, but I tell you, friend, the wrinkles on my old head come not from worrying, but from partying. There's two kinds of people. The kind that gets wrinkles from worrying and the kind that get them from partying. Now, my gray hairs come from kicks, and I can dig it. I'm a hip cat. I can enjoy myself, and I believe that's what the Lord God thing Wotan put us on this planet to do, is to enjoy ourselves. We were created, therefore there must be a reason. Therefore that reason must be to have fun and get slack. This is the logic of Bob Dobbs, friend, and it is inescapable. So you can't enjoy yourself if you're a hateful pink boy who thinks that hurting other people is enjoyable. So slack for thyself and slack for others, friends, are not interchangeable, but interconnected. And so we find that there was a consistency in the word of Bob that was not visible before. And of course, it cannot ever be visible to one who does not have the blood of the Himalayan Yeti pulsing through their veins. Let there be slack.
See www.subgenius.com.